Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The 32-year marriage of Sister Wives actors Kody Brown and Meri Brown ended in 2022, but they just enjoyed a strange moment of unintentional intimacy. Meri, Kody's first wife, had a key role in creating their polygamous family, welcoming ROBYN Brown, Christine Brown, and Janelle Brown as his second, third, and fourth wives. At first, they had a close relationship. Meri called Kody charismatic and engaging while he was on TV. However, Kody's changing feelings, the 2015 catfishing incident, and infertility issues caused tensions. Over the years, their relationship deteriorated, leading to a lack of intimacy for more than 10 years before they separated up. The later years of Meri and Kody's marriage were tumultuous. In 2022, Kody said that he no longer saw Meri as a spouse, which she felt was painful. The authorities of their church gave Meri a spiritual liberation in 2024. Despite her grief at the breakup, she found serenity by concentrating on her own development. Meri denied Kody's story in an attempt to find closure, but Kody later asserted that their marriage was problematic from the beginning, pointing to improved relationships with his prior spouses. During Sister Wives Season 19, Kody and Meri had an awkward but private moment together while he assisted her with moving. As the first of Kody's 4 wives in their polygamous household, Meri and Kody began a spiritual union when they were married in April 1990. Kody, 22, and Meri, then just 19, had a close relationship that was based on their common religious beliefs. In 1995, they had a daughter, but Meri's infertility caused tension in their marriage. Meri's 2015 catfishing controversy was one of the difficulties the couple endured. It caused them to become more emotionally distant from one another and ultimately ended their marriage in 2022. Nevertheless, Sister Wives Season 19 featured instances of unanticipated bonding between the two, such as Kody's consoling assistance during Meri's relocation to Utah. It was disclosed during Sister Wives Season 19 that Kody refers to Meri as his favorite ex-wife, which irritates Janelle and Christine, his other ex-wives. When Kody assisted Meri in moving to Utah, the remark came up at a tearful time as they reflected on their 32-year marriage. Janelle claimed in a confessional that she thought the term minimized her own relationship with Kody. Christine dismissed it as Kody's attempt to rewrite history, and she is now happily wedded to David Woolley. During Sister Wives Season 19, Kody assisted Meri in moving from Arizona to Utah, and the two of them had a lighthearted, flirtatious moment. Meri shoved into Kody after backing into him while loading stuff into a moving truck. It was, Meri said, the closest I've been to him in years. Kody called the incident sexual in nature during a confessional and voiced worries that it would be disrespectful to ROBYN. Kody continued by saying that he wished Meri had been that way during their marriage because they had such a great time together that day. Despite their amicable coexistence following their breakup, Kody and Meri are unlikely to be back together. Their 32-year marriage ended because of Kody's emotional detachment and his preoccupation with ROBYN. In 2022, Kody acknowledged that he no longer felt married to Meri, and their lack of closeness for more than 10 years cemented the distance. Kody says their marriage was never easy, but Meri has embraced personal development since receiving a spiritual release in 2024. Despite their friendliness, the Sister Wives cast members are unlikely to reunite due to enduring problems and different life trajectories. Fans of Sister Wives are taking notice when one of the cast members posted a new Instagram picture that has everyone talking. Although the piece was intended to showcase a humorous incident, the focus was diverted by an unexpected family change. Viewers were astounded to see how much one well-known face had matured in this photo. Christine Brown shared a number of photos to Instagram from a trip to Big Rock Candy Mountain. "I had no idea the Big Rock Candy Mountain was a real place," she wrote as the slideshow's caption. "Honestly, I assumed it was just from the song," she continued, "but we went and it was a lot of fun. On our little adventure, Truly Brown, David Woolley, and I created the most memorable experiences. I'm all in if you give me a ridiculous roadside stop, some tasty munchies, and my people." It served as a reminder that large plans aren't always necessary. Just saying yes can sometimes lead to the best days, Christine said. But it wasn't Christine's pictures that were the main attraction. Truly, her 15-year-old daughter with Kody Brown received the accolade. Christine's social media followers were taken aback by Truly's explosive growth in the last few years. Her most recent social media appearance is a startling update, as many of the scenes that Sister Wives watchers saw her in during season 19 were shot almost 2 years ago. One viewer commented, "This post is really about Truly's glow-up." Another wrote, "To reiterate, she has developed into a stunning young lady, much like her sisters. She has already arrived." "Wow, I can't believe how fast Truly grew up," wrote a third follower. "I recall the time you gave birth to her. I love how Truly has blossomed with you and David," said a fourth. Christine and her daughter relocated from Flagstaff, Arizona, to Utah in November 2021 following their breakup with Kody. A year later, the Sister Wives star met her spouse, David. In April 2023, they declared their engagement, and in October of the same year, they were married. Christine sued Kody in September 2024, requesting custody of their daughter, Truly, 14, and retroactive child support. Christine also asked the court to formally establish paternity because Kody is not named on his daughter's birth certificate. The Sister Wives cast members don't discuss specifics of the legal issue. Sister Wives has officially concluded its 19th season, which was the longest in the show's history. The season, which covered 2 years of the Brown family's disintegration and ended with a heartbreaking reveal, sought to put an end to a plot that had been developing for more than 15 years. There is conjecture that this may be the show's last chapter because many viewers think there are no more stories to discover. The most recent season of the popular TLC show included 29 episodes that followed the life of the reality TV family for almost 2 years. It encompassed the longest period of time in the history of the series, from 2022 to 2024. A 3-part episode that paid tribute to Janelle and Kody Brown's son Garrison, who passed away in March 2024, marked the end of the season. By then, Meri, Christine, and ROBYN Brown were all part of the shattered family. A 4-part one-on-one special that addressed residual conflicts within the broken family was broadcast by the series after the season concluded. Nevertheless, the interviews were recorded in October 2024, prior to many of the most recent family events, even though the episodes attempted to examine the current more closely. As a result, neither Christine's child support nor paternity issues were handled. The settlement of the family's property division at Coyote Pass and the subsequent sale of the land, as well as ROBYN and Kody's relocation to a new $2 million home, were also not. The episodes did, however, highlight the huge disparity in time and resources between the marriages and provide insight into Christine and Janelle's thoughts regarding ROBYN and Kody's courtship. In addition, Kody coined the term Mormon naughty, describing his sex life prior to his 1990 marriage to Meri. Reddit users conjecture that the duration of season 19 means Sister Wives' existence is coming to an end. Many people think that this extended season was an attempt to wrap up loose ends and provide some closure, because the show's original premise no longer fits with the Brown family's divided state. Sincerely, I hope it's over. The show has completely changed from its original form. I honestly don't want to watch any more after Garrison's passing. Everything that is good must end. One viewer commented, "I hope it's over for everyone's benefit, but I wish the best for all the OGs." The show is already a year behind, thinks a second fan. Any news can be found on their social media or in gossip magazines. Whatever they've been filming, I hope it's the last one. They must find peace and go on without repeatedly reliving their past lives. Will season 19 of Sister Wives mark the show's conclusion? There may be a 20th season of the TLC series, because it has been reported that the family kept filming after Garrison Brown's passing and the one-on-one episodes. This last season was really just a catch-up in the timeline, one fan said in reference to a new season. The upcoming season ought to be more up-to-date. As up-to-date as possible, that is. If there is a new season, it will be interesting to see how they frame the season because it has been 3 to 4 years of rehashing the marriages and it is boring now, the final season said. It was the kind of moment that doesn't need dialogue to make an impact, the kind that hits you in the gut, not with what's said but with what's not said. A single glance, a forced smile, a hollow exchange that echoed with years of heartbreak, resentment, and silent agony. Fans of Sister Wives have witnessed dozens of emotional confrontations over the years, tearful goodbyes, explosive arguments, confessions that shattered families. But nothing compares to that one moment between Kody Brown and Meri Brown, a moment so painfully awkward, so uncomfortably cold, and dripping in quiet tension, that it felt like watching two strangers interact while pretending they were still something they hadn't been in years. It happened during a family event, one of those carefully orchestrated gatherings where the entire Brown clan is expected to show up, smile, and pretend like everything is fine for the sake of the cameras and their fractured legacy. But things weren't fine. Not even close. Because when Meri entered the room, dressed in her signature polished style, trying just a little too hard to project confidence, and when Kody barely looked up, offering nothing more than a tight nod, it was as if a decade of love, marriage, and shared history had been erased by a single dismissive glance. And fans could feel it. The air went thick. Janelle looked down. Christine shifted in her seat. Even ROBYN's usual forced warmth faded into stiff discomfort. It was undeniable. Kody and Meri were not just estranged. They were broken in a way that no one dared acknowledge. And that one interaction, that fraction of a second, explained everything. But how did we get here? How did Kody and Meri, once the golden couple of their polygamous experiment, the original pair who built the foundation for the entire Brown family, wind up in a place where even eye contact felt unbearable? The answer, like most things in the Brown universe, is complicated. The emotional unraveling began years ago, long before Christine's exit, before the COVID breakdowns, even before ROBYN entered the picture. Meri's infamous catfishing scandal may have been the public turning point, but in truth, the distance between her and Kody started forming long before that. There were cracks. Little ones. Fights that never got resolved. Needs that never got met. Affection that slowly dried up until all that was left was obligation and ritual. But instead of addressing it, Kody withdrew. And Meri waited. And waited. And waited. Until the waiting became the relationship. That's what made the awkward moments so gut-wrenching, because it wasn't loud. It wasn't cruel. It was quiet. It was two people pretending to be cordial while silently screaming. Kody's face, expressionless but taut. Meri's eyes, searching for something, acknowledgement, maybe, but finding nothing. It wasn't a fight. It was a funeral. And viewers felt like unwanted guests, watching the burial of a love that had died years ago but hadn't been given a proper goodbye. What made it worse, what made it downright haunting, was how normal the moment seemed on the surface. They greeted each other. They exchanged a few flat words. They stood near each other without making a scene. But that's what made it unbearable. Because underneath the surface-level politeness was a volcano of grief, humiliation, and deep, bone-weary exhaustion. And Meri's forced smile? That was the dagger. Because that smile wasn't about happiness. It was survival. It was a mask. It was the look of a woman who had begged for crumbs of affection for years and finally decided to act like she didn't need the loaf anymore, even if it still hurt. Kody, for his part, barely tried. And that's the truth that fans couldn't ignore. In that moment, he looked at Meri not with contempt, but with detachment, like a man who had emotionally severed a tie and saw no reason to pretend it was still intact. And while Meri tried to maintain dignity, you could see it in her posture. The weight of every time she showed up and he didn't. Every call he didn't return. Every decision he made with the other wives while she stood on the sidelines like an unwanted ghost. The pain was palpable. Fans took to social media instantly. That was the coldest moment I've ever seen on the show. You could cut the tension with a knife. It's abuse, plain and simple, emotional neglect playing out on national TV. And they weren't wrong, because when you zoom out, the moment wasn't just awkward. It was symbolic. It was the culmination of a slow-motion emotional abandonment that Sister Wives has chronicled for over a decade. Kody didn't just stop loving Meri, he made her live in the shadow of that loss, year after year, while still keeping her legally and spiritually tethered to a marriage he clearly no longer respected. And Meri? She endured it. Because faith told her to. Because loyalty told her to. Because she still hoped, deep down, that maybe one day Kody would turn back around and see her again. But he didn't. And he wouldn't. And that awkward moment, that icy exchange, was the final proof. There would be no return. No redemption arc. No fairy tale ending. Just distance. And cameras. And heartbreak caught in high definition. For viewers, it was a lesson in silence. A reminder that emotional cruelty doesn't always come with yelling. Sometimes it comes with blank stares and performative politeness. Sometimes it comes with awkward greetings that feel like goodbyes. And for Meri, it was perhaps the last straw. Because not long after that moment, she finally did what fans had been begging her to do for years. She let go. She released the dead marriage. She stepped away from the table where love was no longer being served. And maybe that's the only good thing that came out of such a painfully awkward moment, the clarity that there was nothing left to fight for. Because sometimes, the silence says it all. And for Kody and Meri Brown, that silence is now deafening. It's the question that's been building for years, whispered on fan forums, debated in Reddit threads, teased in tabloid headlines, and now screamed across social media louder than ever before. Is Sister Wives finally ending? As season 19 unfolds in long-winded, emotionally draining slow motion, even the most devoted viewers are beginning to admit what they never thought they'd say out loud, that maybe, just maybe, this is the last ride. The once groundbreaking show that started with Kody Brown proudly leading his 4 wives through the challenges of plural marriage has now become a haunting, dragged-out post-mortem of a spiritual union that collapsed long ago. And fans aren't just noticing the shift, they're saying it outright. There's nothing left to film. One viral TikTok user commented after episode 3 aired. This isn't a family anymore. It's a man and his regret. Another Reddit thread went even further, with hundreds of fans agreeing that the show has become an obituary masquerading as a reality series, with season 19 serving as the funeral procession. The evidence is everywhere. Gone is the laughter. Gone is the sense of curiosity or hope or adventure. What's left are strained conversations, endless awkward silences, and scenes stretched into agonizing nothingness just to fill screen time. Viewers are being subjected to long, repetitive monologues, recycled footage, confessionals that loop around the same emotional dead ends, and an overwhelming sense that we are witnessing the final breath of a family and a franchise that can no longer pretend to be whole. Even TLC, once known for championing the Brown family's unconventional lifestyle, has shifted its tone. Gone are the glossy promotional pushes. The trailers now feel subdued. The editing seems slower, more somber, like producers are gently guiding the audience to accept the truth that fans have already accepted. This is no longer a plural marriage. It's the aftermath. And the cast? They're barely holding the illusion together. Christine is already remarried. She's thriving with David Woolley, filming content that is leagues more joyful than anything we've seen from her on Sister Wives in years. Janelle is increasingly focused on her own children and her newfound independence, her patience for Kody's antics, wearing thin in every scene she appears in. Meri is checked out emotionally, and while she hasn't always known how to walk away, it's clear she already has, spiritually, emotionally, and publicly. And then there's ROBYN, the last wife standing, the so-called legal wife who once seemed to be the center of Kody's world, but is now caught in the wreckage of everything that crumbled around her. Her tears feel different now, less like pleas for unity and more like quiet realizations that the dream she signed up for has become a lonely, guilt-ridden reality. And Kody? He's a shadow of the man he once was. The confident, boundary-pushing polygamist who spoke passionately about celestial marriage now stares blankly into the camera, ranting about loyalty, betrayal, and respect, but never once seeming to grasp the role he played in it all. His scenes now feel like a man trying to salvage ego from the ashes of a legacy that went up in smoke. And fans aren't here for it. They're tired. Not just of the dysfunction, but of the pacing, the recycled drama, the sense that we're watching a show limp across the finish line not because it has anything left to say, but because it's contractually obligated to keep going just a little bit longer. Season 19 feels like the post-credit scene of a movie that ended 2 years ago, one YouTube commentator quipped. And they're not wrong. Most of the major storylines have already played out. Christine's exit was season 17's defining arc. Janelle's slow breakup with Kody was season 18's emotional backbone. Meri's detachment? Already explored in painful, drawn-out detail. Now, in season 19, we're watching ghosts walk through the ruins of a show that used to have purpose.